Hello, my name is Fabian Almazan. I am the founder and director of Biophilia Records. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Biophilia Records Festival. This is our second year. We are an environmentally conscious independent music label, and we champion imaginative and masterful musicians. The videos from the festival will be up on YouTube for free for the next couple of months. Beyond that, if you want to be able to continue watching these videos, you can go to bandcamp.com and search for Biophilia Records, and there you can subscribe to Biophilia Records. The videos are available through the subscription. There is a link in the description beneath if you have the means to donate to Biophilia Records. Now, without further ado, here's the Biophilia Records Festival. So this piece that you just heard was the result of a commission from the Jazz Coalition. The Jazz Coalition is a great organization that came about to try to help musicians once the pandemic hit in 2020. As you saw at the end of that video, it is very much not a Cuban tree. I think it just speaks to how ownership can be a funny thing when you think you hold something so close and dear to you, but it's not yours. This next piece that you're going to hear was the result of an online performance that I was commissioned to do by the Millennium Stage at the Kennedy Center. And one of the silver linings for me during this pandemic has been the fact that I've gotten to play with one of the most musical drummers that I have come about. His name is Ben Vanderwal. For years I've been experimenting with electroacoustic techniques on the acoustic piano, and you will see some of that in this video. I hope you enjoy it. Imagine, like many of you watching, I don't really know what's in store for me in the future. This year has been incredibly different than the rest of my life. And my wife and I were very fortunate and grateful to have been able to come to Perth, Western Australia, where I am right now. I'm a New Yorker, and it's been a while since I've been in New York, so I don't know exactly what's in store for me once I get back. I'm an optimist sometimes, and so I look forward to what life has in store for me. I will say, though, that I am very interested in continuing to pursue the electroacoustic techniques that I've been messing around for years with, and I've always been interested in string quartet writing. If I could have one wish, it would be to get to score a nature documentary. Any documentary makers out there watching this, I would love to score your nature documentary. It would be an absolute dream come true. I also want to somehow make sure that I can help as an artist bring more attention to sacrifice zones. Sacrifice zones are scattered all over the world. They're basically communities comprised of non-white, non-wealthy people that end up being victims of environmental injustice and environmental racial injustices. Basically, fossil fuel industries and many other industries use these communities as places where they can just dump chemicals into the water, chemicals into the air. So you get a very high percentage of cancer in these areas. And I just feel that it's a tragedy, and I want to bring more attention to that somehow as an artist. So I'm not exactly sure how, but in the future I plan on somehow bringing more attention to this. Being involved with artists on this label and Biophilia Records, because prior to starting this label, the conversations that I had with musicians about music were slightly different. Now I really get to see what's going on behind the scenes with a lot of artists, and just the love and commitment that they have to what they're doing. It's very inspiring. I think it makes us all stronger when we have to, as artists, deal with the realities of having art that exists in a capitalist society where it's not only intended to serve its purpose as an art form, but it also has to be able to exist. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's a certain conviction and courage that has to come with the artist to go from those beginning early stages of just being purely in love with the music and not really so much focused on how to have longevity, up from that point to being on a label and promoting music so that more people know about it. That to me just adds this whole other dimension to the artistry that I'm witnessing from the musicians on this label. And honestly, I think that if I had the chance to have dinner with anyone alive or dead, I would very much like to be able to have dinner with Paul Cornelius, who was a dear friend of mine who passed away the day that my son was born. I wish I could have dinner with him so that I could introduce him to my son. That to me, that would be very nice. Aside from that, I would love to have dinner with Nelson Mandela and see how he could fix everything that's going on right now. I feel like he could do it. I would also love to have dinner with Alexander van Humboldt. You'd probably been to a national park or a forest somewhere that's called Humboldt. He was an explorer, one of the first nature explorers. He documented various different the world is round, regions of the world, the natural world, and I just think he was fascinating. He was from Prussia. If it's having dinner with somebody dead or alive, I would want to have dinner, believe it or not, with Donald Trump, but dead. And I would just remind him that he is dead. Yeah. Well, what has been on my mind lately is our devastatingly adorable baby boy that we just had 4 months ago. People try to describe to you what it's like to feel that love. And it's incredible. There's a lot of happy chemicals in my head all the time now. And having had a son, Something else that's on my mind that I find worrisome, obviously, it's just climate change and all of these cultural wars that seem to be happening right now that don't really seem to be based on facts. That's on my mind. That worries me, the fact that we can't agree on facts. I would say that the most pivotal moment for me in my development as an artist was the day that I met Conchita Betancourt. When my family left Cuba, we arrived in Miami very poor. Yeah, my parents could not afford to pay for piano lessons for me. And in came this angel to my life. Her name was Conchita Betancourt. She gave me private classical piano lessons for 3 years and never charged my parents a dime. And every week I had a lesson with her, every week. That to me instilled a sense of appreciation for humanity. It gave me faith in humanity. And the fact that somebody had that much faith in me, even though I most certainly did not have faith in myself, it just made me kind of not think of myself so much, but think about the music and how it helps people, and the craft and the history of music, and the seriousness with which Conchita taught me music. It's we are not doctors as musicians, but we can save lives. Music is medicinal. It's a beautiful thing. And I must have been 11 years old at that point when Conchita taught me, and it made a lifelong impact on me as a person and as a musician. I would say the second most pivotal moment for me is still happening to this day, and that is my wife, Linda Mehan O. As a musician, I am inspired by her on a daily basis. Her commitment and her artistry are just incredible to me. And again, she's someone who gives me faith in music and in people. Yeah. Well, I would say, man, in 10 years things are gonna get really weird. No, I guess I would just say that don't pay attention to peer pressure too much. Listen to your gut. Have a little more confidence in who you are, and just go for it. Things are gonna be okay. Meditate. I would 10 years ago I would tell myself to meditate. From everything I know about meditation, that it's one of those things, one of those simple things you can do to really help every aspect of your life. I'm a hypocrite because I still don't meditate, but maybe I should start now. I grew up in a communist dictatorship, and the cartoons that were available to children were mostly Soviet Union cartoons, which were, very artistically sophisticated but extremely dark. So maybe not so much those. The Cuban cartoon that I really loved is called El Pidio Valdés. And my sister and I used to say this line all the time from that show, which is Ete que está acá atrás. Ete que está acá atrás means this one who is behind me. Este que está acá atrás. Yeah, it was a show about El Pidio Valdés, who was a freedom fighter when Cuba was trying to gain its independence from the Spaniards. El Pidio Valdés. Well, it involves a lot of preparation. I think it's very similar to architecture in that every house, every building, the main rule is that it just has to stand and not collapse. And although it is a lot more subjective with music, whether it quote-unquote stands or collapses, there is an architecture to functional harmony. Now, what does functional harmony mean for a non-musician? It's kind of like the grammar of music. I've been saying sentences that hopefully make sense, but you can put words together in any which way. It can be very poetic about it and be very abstract, and it's the same thing in music. So I've done a lot of research in my life. I have analyzed a lot of other composers' work, and I feel like I studied the quote-unquote architecture or grammar of music enough to explore the unusual in music, subjectively speaking. So that's the main thing. I really try to research and learn as much as I can about the craft and the art form. After I've done that, then I just jump into off a cliff into the total unknown and try to forget everything that I researched and just go internally and try not to criticize what I'm doing and just go with it, with whatever is resonating within me. And then there's a lot of very functional and practical aspects to it that are just, is it physically possible to play something? What instruments, understanding the capabilities of those instruments that you're composing the music for. But honestly, I think the most important part of it all has nothing to do with music, and it's psychology. It's how comfortable are you in your own skin in order to be able to be yourself as a musician. That doesn't mean there's no doubt or any fear, but there's got to be some sort of questioning of who you are on a constant basis, so that you do have the conviction to be a musician and be an artist. Music is the type of thing that's infinite. It's not like today I'll learn everything there is to learn about music. I'll have heard everything there is to hear in music. It's an infinite source of emotion, and I can't let go of that. So that's how it is a job, and there are very frustrating days. But it's the universe, it's everything, it's magic. My favorite animals are frogs, amphibians. I love amphibians. I'm fascinated by them. They are the clearest indicator of the health of certain environments throughout the world. Look up Dumpy's tree frog. They're adorable, to me.
This first tune you're about to watch is a tune of mine titled Quat, and you are going to hear it on the record coming May 21st on Biophilia Records.
Video you're about to watch is of a tune that's not on our album that I wrote called One. Hope you guys enjoy.
This last video you're about to watch is of a new piece of mine dedicated to the great trumpeter Don Chery. It's called Chery. So this band was formed when the four of us were students together at William Patterson University, and we really enjoyed playing together. We ended up staying in touch when we graduated, and the band was still active. And about a year and a half after we graduated, we had amassed, some tunes of ours, and we had played some gigs, and we wanted to record the stuff. So we went to Big Orange Sheep in Brooklyn, New York, and we recorded some stuff, and that's what you're going to hear on this debut album.
I guess lately, I know we've been exchanging some records of the Sonny Rollins trio with N-Hop and Alan Dawson. That's been something that's been really exciting to listen to lately. And otherwise, actually a lot of early Ornette pre-Shape of Jazz to Come with like Shelly Manne and yeah, I guess various different things, like, at least in the jazz realm. That's what's really been what I've been really listening to lately. So, what about you, Paule?
Me? Well, I'm really excited for this. Is not jazz at all, so I apologize to anyone who is a jazz fan, but I'm really excited for the new Gojira record to come out, and I'm kind of new to the band, so I really want to discover and check out their back catalog and see what's there. I've been listening to their album From Mars to Sirius, and I can't wait to check out their other stuff. What about you, Tom?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually pretty pumped that Taylor Swift re-recorded and released all of Fearless. So now she's kind of in ownership of it all now. So hashtag free Taylor. We've made it. So I've been really enjoying that.
Okay. I've been listening to basically the bootlegs that Gideon sent me because that's the most recent music I've acquired. And other than that, I've been listening to a lot of Zappa recently. That's what's on the menu. And I've watched season 1 of True Detective, so
It's very inspiring.
Finally.
yeah.
The coaching did that like 2.5 years ago, so I'm glad you finally came around to do it.
So I'm going to start out. I would ask Don Rickles to be raised from the grave just to be able to insult us all for a dinner. That would be both hilarious and
More interesting than this conversation
more interesting
we're having right now.
If I had to pick somebody dead or alive, I've been reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, so I think that'd be a pretty interesting conversation to have. So pick Marcus Aurelius, Stoic philosopher and author.
If I had to have dinner with someone dead, it would be Miles Davis, my all-time favorite musical artist, any genre.
I had to pick someone dead or alive. Oh boy, there's so many people, but I'd probably pick someone like Einstein or like a famous scientist like that to just explain one of the big scientific concepts that they came up with, like, you know, relativity, like what's that? So I would probably I'd probably pick someone, you know, like an Einstein type.
So we have Miles Davis, Don Rickles, an Einstein type, and what was the name of yours, Tom?
Marcus Aurelius.
Wow. So that would be 8 people. Oh, wow, that would be what a trip, huh?
Jeez.
So as a band, we play music because, you know, we met in college. We all really enjoyed playing with each other, and we just wanted to continue as a band, and we wanted to grow. We're all really good friends, and it's one of the best ways to be able to share time and space with people is just to be able to make music with them, you know, challenge each other, and you know, grow as an ensemble.
What has been on my mind personally, just trying to eat better and stay healthy, get more exercise, get more sunlight, that vitamin D, and just trying to find more balance between work and personal life. What about you, Tom?
Well, I moved here in November of last year, and thankfully, because I'm busy, I've been working a lot, but I haven't had time to actually furnish my apartment, so it's been rather empty. So I've been spending a lot of time trying to cover these white walls with some color so I don't go crazy.
I saw that Criterion Collection released their newest releases just before this talk. So the thing that's been on my mind is whether I'm going to buy Mirror when it comes out.
I'm 29, so with 30 kind of coming around the corner, I'm just having an existential crisis about my choices in life and whether or not I've achieved everything I want, both musical and non-musical. So I'm the elder of NORTONK, as you can clearly tell by this video, with the way that I look. And
also because my hat's on and you
and,
can't tell that I'm bald.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just in a constant flux of rethinking myself. So all is well. So for us as a band, I think working with Kevin Norton while we were in school together was a really pivotal development for us. We had been together as an ensemble for basically a semester before that, and you know, working on some of our own music, but also playing, you know, some covers and some tunes of other bands that we liked. And Kevin was really helpful in just pushing us to develop and, you know, our own compositions and to really think about the way we wanted to sound as an ensemble when it came to the type of music that we wanted to play and the way we wanted to improvise. So for us, that was a really helpful early development for us as a band.
If I could go back 10 years in the past, the piece of advice that I would tell myself is to just keep an open mind, whether it's with music or with life or anything like that. Just keep an open mind and put in the hard work, because you never know when an opportunity is going to strike. I watched so many different cartoons when I was a kid. I watched a lot of like Nickelodeon. Like I watched a lot of SpongeBob back in the day, and like Fairly Odd Parents, and all of like the Nickelodeon cartoons from the 90s, like Cat Dog. Does anyone remember that?
Of course.
Yeah, I watched a lot of that stuff back then. I don't know about you guys.
I was actually Team Cartoon Network, so
so then you have to quit the band then.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unless I'm wrong, but like what was that show called? Spy Kids Next Door or something? The
Code name.
That was such a
Code
good
Name
show.
Kids Next Door.
Yeah.
Big fan. That Dexter's Laboratory, that was on Cartoon Network, right?
Yep.
Oh my god, dude. There's so many.
Yeah, I watched a lot of those shows, but I don't know what this says about me, but I watched South Park when I was pretty young, and that's still my favorite cartoon. So maybe I just haven't changed.
Consistency.
No, hopefully I have.
Yeah. I think I have to second Tom here. I was more of a Cartoon Network fan, but Dexter's Lab. I was a big Scooby-Doo fan, sort of pre-Cartoon Network, maybe early 90s. But
dating yourself.
He's the one pushing 30. So.
Yeah, that's true. I am. In my day. Oh.
Yeah, I watched. You watched Steamboat Willie on the whistling on the river.
I watched the animated Leave It to Beaver that came out. Yeah. So we do have the biofolios with us. We just got these this week. We're really excited to be able to have them. So it comes in this great sleeve, and I'll just slowly fold it out. Maybe get a little bit better feel, and then zoom it out a little bit, and we get these beautiful designs. We worked with Roland the Fox, who I have a mutual friend that worked with him on his record. Really loved his design, and essentially we asked him to. We didn't really give him much for parameters, but he kept on giving us some ideas for the cover. He ended up using a lot of it as a collage for the whole biofolio. So we're really happy with the way it came out. The photo we have is from Luke Morantz, who did a photo session from us, and Roland was able to incorporate that. So these are really it's just a really beautiful design, and a biofolio as opposed to a CD. I mean, there's a lot of things you could say about it. One thing is just the ecological impact, which of course is one of the tenets of Biophilia Records that we're really behind. And one of the great things about Fabian and his mission as a record label, but also just to be able to have the design, which is so special. It's completely unique to this record label, and something that, is, you won't find anywhere else. So, and to be able to work with an artist specifically for this design really changes the way that it's going to turn out. So we're just really happy with the way it did. And you should definitely get a physical copy, because you get the digital download code inside, but you also get to have this great product that you can literally frame in your house if you want to. So
we just want to say thanks to Fabian Almazan and to Biophilia Records for hosting this event. And you guys should definitely check out all the other artists who are participating, and also donate to Biophilia Records. There's going to be a link wherever. And please check out our record. It's coming on May 21st. And hope you have a great one.
Perfectibility My thoughts go around, around, and around, trying to find the solution. My thoughts go around and around and around, trying to find a solution. My thoughts go around and around and around, trying to find a solution. But when the answer is the process, what can I do? How can I create with so much sadness around me, sadness around me? How can I create with so much grief around me, grief around me? How can I create with so much loss around me, with so much sadness around me, with so much madness around me?
today I'm sharing a commissioned piece by Jazz Coalition that it's called Miniatures. These miniatures are short songs that I was able to write amongst all the stuff that has been going in my life, and kind of reflect a little bit what I wanted to say, how I have experienced this pandemic, like 1 year of pandemic. So it starts with News Cycle, then it goes to Optimism and Despair, a song inspired on Zadie Smith's text. I have it here. She has a great book called Feel Free, and there's one essay called Optimism and Despair, where she talks about the unperfectibility of human beings, and how progress is something that needs to be constantly worked on and reimagined. It's never a fixed thing. Then the third piece is called How Can I Create, and kind of relates to how I've been feeling so uncreative. Like I feel like all the stress and specifically I think like around New York, how things were so bad, and even in Portugal, when I was in Portugal too, there's so much sadness in there. When there's so much loss and grief, it feels like my brain was not kind of in the mood to be creating and experimenting with music. And last one, it's called Watching You Grow, which is related, to having my son at home for a year, and how that's beautiful and exhausting at the same time. The videos have been made by Miraz, kind of in collaboration with her. Some of the videos I gave her instructions, some others like I let it be kind of open to her imagination and to some images that she might have. And the music played by me and by my husband and musical partner, André Matos, who really kind of embraced his music and helped me put this together. I have done the recording. I hope to release it hopefully by the end of this year. It's a collaboration with Nigerian writer Emmanuel Iduma, and combines music with excerpts of his book called A Stranger's Pose. So I met Emmanuel here in New York, and we had some conversations, and then I was commissioned by John Zorn to present a piece at National Stardust, and I took the opportunity and just invited Emmanuel and said, let's create this, since there's a desire to make something together. The piece is mostly about Emmanuel's travels in different African countries, and about his encounters with different people, and how, like, as a traveler, you leave something behind, you encounter new things. It features 3 voices, so it's me, Sophia Ray, and Aubrey Johnson, then with Kazim Nakvi on modular synth, and Matt Mitchell on piano, and Emmanuel Iduma. So reading books has been great. But one film that I've watched recently was Agnes Varda latest film, which is a beautiful documentary on her life. She's like one of my favorite movie directors, and I've grown up watching her films. So there's always this kind of really connection, a real connection with kind of the essential things in art making that she touches in this film. It's called Agnes by Vara. Okay, I think I would love to have a dinner with my father, who passed away 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And with my grandfather and with my grandmother, I think there are so many questions that I would have for them, and just kind of meeting them and being with them. That's a great question. Why do I play music? I think playing music is a way of expressing myself. It's a way of connecting with the world, and just a way of creating spaces where I can reflect and experiment through sound. I don't think I have like a very spiritual or complex question around that. Music has been always part of my life, and I'm really grateful for that because it kind of really helped me process my reality as a child and growing up, and it gave me a lot of joy. So there's a kind of a combination of something around pleasure and joy and feeling fulfilled, another thing of communicating with others and creating spaces for us to be together in which we're not like in a verbal conversation. A lot of things. I think in a way, like what has been on my mind is how do we connect in a deeper way with each other, listen to each other, understand our differences and our similarities. And then other things, like very basic things, like how can I find space and time for myself? How will life be? Like how will concerts and music be when we're able to get together? It's not all that's on my mind. I have so many things on my mind all the time. I mean, for sure, like one of the pivotal moments for me was to move to New York and to move to the United States, actually. I think that was one of the biggest pivotal moments. Like I was okay living in Portugal, but there was a lot of desire to continue to grow and to learn. And when I came to the United States, it just kind of a whole new world opened up for me. It was very challenging, like to move all by myself. I had no friends. I had nothing. I had actually nothing, no connections here, except like at the music school. But it was incredible because it was kind of like a test to myself, like, is this really what I want to do? And if this is what I want to do, I should really focus on it. And so being in Boston was a very important experience where I could really practice every day and just be focused and really kind of push myself into growing as a musician. And then moving to New York also. And I think moving to New York, it's a constant adaptation. I've been here for 10 years. It doesn't mean like I'm completely adapted to New York. But for sure, like being here where you encounter so many people, musicians or non-musicians, where you're also pushed in another way where you have to, first of all, you have to survive, pay your bills, pay your food, your house, so there's that survival aspect, and sometimes not easy, can be quite solitary too. But at the same time, there's a lot of fulfillment when musicians gather, and when I'm exposed to other ways of making music and learn from those experiences. So I think like all my encounters since I moved to New York mark me in sometimes might not be the best way, positive experience, but if I think like even negative experiences make me learn. So yeah, I think being here in the United States, encounter all the amazing musicians and teachers I met. I would say don't be afraid of being who you are. I feel like in many ways, when you move to a different context from where you've grown up, you have to adapt to different realities and find different ways of communication, and also like just understanding how you move professionally. And I think like there was a lot of fear also, and a lot of not that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, but I feel sometimes like the emotions associated with it sometimes were a little unfocused. So I would say, just believe in what you're doing and don't be afraid. Yeah. I'm kind of wondering which age we're talking about. But the first that came to mind was like this thing called D'Artacão in Portugal. Everyone in my generation knows D'Artacão. It was like part of the Three Musketeers, and they're all dogs, and I really love that show. I love my Biofolio. I think like from the beginning, since you launched this label, it kind of resonates with me, this idea of not contributing to plastic pollution, in particular because I have so many CD boxes here at home with CDs inside, but that just take up so much space, and then I can't help thinking like this will go to the trash and this kind of non-renewable material, so this will take centuries to disappear from the earth. It's really a beautiful work of art. I think that's a great question, and I think I feel really lucky that the musicians that are around me, or the musicians that I invite, always embrace the music that I write, and always, can create something really amazing out of it. Like there's a lot of doubts and self-doubts when I'm writing music, when I create something, the moment of thinking about it, putting it in paper, then kind of materializing it into a lead sheet, and then like that moment of experimenting it in a rehearsal sometimes can be so kind of stressful, because it's almost like kind of I really don't know how this will sound with the band. So there's always that moment of discovery, but also like there's some kind of planning too, kind of like, okay, I know how I have to organize a performance, what will go into what elements are part of the performance. Lately I have been experimenting with visual arts, like with projections, with photography, with different elements of even staging, lights. Imagine like if it's kind of something that affects people visually, like how will our staging affect that, how can things be balanced. So there's thought and planning behind that, and then just kind of practicing the music, really important, singing every day and singing that music every day so that it's part of me, and so that my body is not in questions during the performance or questioning. Yeah, I think making music is just such a magical thing, and when it goes right, it goes well, it's just so rewarding, so magical, really. It's just really beautiful. And the effects that I feel like, for example, social media on me, is just how everything becomes so visual, and that like this sense of hearing and listening suddenly becomes secondary. And I've been trying just to kind of, I don't want that, like I still want to have the listening and this kind of aural sensation very present and very important. It's crucial. Appreciating those moments when they happen, especially like after a year of not having musical interactions. It just makes me realize how much I miss it, and how important it is for the continuous growth as a musician. My favorite animal, I like cats. I really like cats. I think I understand them. I had 2 cats when I was younger, when I lived in Portugal, and they were part of my upbringing, and so there was a lot of things that I learned from observing them. So cats and all the feline animals. Okay, thank you, Fabian.